Hey, welcome to Corbellic Studios. I'm Corbellic. We're here for another live stream show right now. This is going to be a good one right here. All right. This one, we're going to be talking about why originality is a trap. Why trying to recreate the wheel is just wasting your time, is wasting mental resources and things of what I did to get out of this trap. It took me years. It took me years. All right. It took me more years of my career trying to always recreate the wheel than just learning that the market doesn't care anyways. All right. You could just keep doing the same thing over and over and you can make the money for it. And you don't have to always try to think about how to be different, because there is no such thing as different. The people who you think is the most different, or the people who you think that was grabbing the most inspiration, different references or whatever, they were also stealing themselves. All right. They were basically stealing themselves. And even Picasso had a famous line where he says that decent artists copy, great artists steal. And he wasn't being literal, but he was just trying to give you the freedom, the artistic freedom of paint like a child. It doesn't matter what it is. The only people who I always notice who get caught up into these type of things are people who are insecure, who aren't really artists, and they want everything to themselves. You know, I always make the joke that maybe their moms didn't say they loved them enough when they were younger or something, and they feel like this is the only important thing in their life. Like I said, we're more important than that because we're already natural creators. So anything that you do in life anyways, is that you're more than just an artist, right? You're more than that. You're already a phenomenal person. So it's like we're not tripped up off of what we do here or the references of how we get. All right. So we're going to break all of that down. I could talk about this a lot. This is going to be a really great subject. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Now, today's health tip, because yesterday we had a health thing going on right yesterday. One of the things that I like to do as well in the morning time is I like to juice. So I juice carrot juice. This is carrot juice, ginger, apple, and beets. All right. And I do it because it's a great morning flush. It gives me energy and it keeps my day going. So that's some of the things that we talked about yesterday on yesterday's intro, where I was saying, like, trust me, millionaires and billionaires, none of them are doing life natural. All right. They're all on some type of vitamin supplements. I'm not talking about any other kind of crazy drugs, which I'm pretty sure some people do, but most of them who I meet, they're on a natural type of supplement, vitamins, B12s, Ds, ginger juice. I mean, just different things, and they're not just doing where it's just natural. All right. Ah, ah, it's strong from the ginger. I think there's a little bit of cayenne pepper in there too. It's really good to, you know, keep you good, keep your energy going. Also give you a little bit of spike. The beet juice that's in there, I'm still trying to get used to it. I know some people like it. I don't personally like it that much, but I know it's healthy for me and it's good for the liver. So it's good in the morning times. And especially it's good now before going into the live stream, where it gives me that energy. It gives me that, like, now I'm feeling that from the ginger. I'm feeling like, yeah, it's kind of like a healthy, instead of drinking alcohol or anything like that, it's like a healthy shot of alcohol. But yes, that is a great quote as well from Picasso. So I understand. I know you misspelled it, but yeah, Picasso said that too. And that's one of the things that I like to say to people is, like, there's nothing new underneath the sun. All right, there's nothing new underneath the sun. So we'll get into it. Like, I can't wait. We'll get into it. So, but let's get into painting. I already have our palette is ready to go. I hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's feeling great. Yesterday, I already filmed the video of me, how I do the wheat paste and how I show you how I do my mixed media. I show it how I cook it. I show it how I mix it. I show it the recipe. I show everything from A to B. And the video, it's already done. It's being scheduled to come out 1 p.m. avocado time. So that's Pacific time. So be on the lookout for that video. It's already done. It's already scheduled into YouTube, and it's going to come out at 1 p.m. it's going to be a really good video. I think the video is going to do very well because how I did the production on it. And there's a lot of people in the art world who want to know how that's done. And I let the cat out the bag by giving the secret recipe. Let me show you what some of these wicks, since you're here, you're part of the initiated. So you're going to get a first peek of what the dried product looks like. You got to see this. I've done thousands of these. And the reason that I do them, look at this. Look at these. Check this out. Boom. Can you believe, look at this. This is what it comes out on. Like these are canvases. Oh, let me make sure I didn't move my palette cam for you guys. Hold on. All right, cool. The palette cam's good. All right, so you can see here, right? Like, this is canvas, but the mixed media pieces that I put on here is from the 1930s and the 1940s. I only order this type of mixed media from the Time magazine. So I break it all down, and you can see here, there's no yellowing in there. There's no yellow. So my formula of how I do it is the best one on the internet. And today, after I get done with the video, I'm going to show a video of me painting on these. So it's like a part 2. And I've done thousands of these because this is what I specialize in. I'm a mixed media canvas artist. And the reason that I love doing it is because the background is part of the art. So it doesn't matter what I put on there. I could put a flower, a dog. I could put anything I want on there, and it'll be beautiful because people are really more like buying the mixed media background. So I give it away for free. I want you to do it as well. I'm also going to be dropping it inside the elite community. And yeah, maybe I even have some behind the scenes on there. So really cool stuff. Maybe you sleep 4 to 5 hours, something like that. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I sleep like, yeah, something like that. But I get my energy like that as well too. And the reason how I'm still well rested, like I said, I take care of myself, and I focus on what I put in my body. So, you know, and these are the things too. After I get done, I didn't have a chance to do it yesterday, but after I get done with this as well, I am going to be dropping a new course in there where it's the Readers Club of books that help me out. And also kind of like the millionaire supplement, right? That's what I'll call it. The millionaire supplement. Juices, my routine of how I eat, because these things are important. When I was first doing art, I didn't have a health routine or things, but I didn't understand the productivity of my mind, and it affected my mind, it affected my productivity. So I'm always working. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. All right. Morning, everybody. Yes, beet juice. Yes. All right. I appreciate everybody in here. I'm telling you, it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing to God. It's such a blessing to God that I have you guys. That's the thing that I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm so blessed that I have my community. And a lot of things in life, you know, I feel like, you know, we always look back and be like, I wish I could have done this different or this, whatever. That's just regret. That's something that us humans do. Regret is just living in the past, which is dumb because you can't change the past. One of the things I always think of is I wish I would have had my community years ago, because here when I was selling all this art, I was doing it alone, right? But it was my choice doing it alone because of my ego, and I'm being selfish by wanting to keep everything to myself. But at the same point, it's like the money didn't matter after a while, because here I am, I'm kind of like killing myself where it's way more valuable to have a community. So I always wake up now blessed to God where I have my community, and I'm thankful for that. All right, so y'all gonna trip out and laugh on what our first painting's gonna be. Boom! Look at this, polar bear. Let's do this. It's going to be a colorful polar bear. It's going to be a colorful polar bear. I think we're going to have fun with this one. And we're going to talk about why originality is a trap. All right. So let's get Let's see here. I'm just changing this up over here. All right, boom. All right, let's get into the polar bear. So for the beets, how I get the juice for the beets, they at Costco they sell them where they're already in the bulbs, and they're already in the bulbs, and they're already like they're already shaved or whatever. They're already juicy, like in a bulb, and they put it like in a sealed packet. And there's like 4 or 5 packets that come in one box. It was fairly cheap, so that way you could just take the ball or the bulb, and then you just put it in the juicer, and then it comes out a bunch of juice. Extremely, extremely healthy for you. Gives you energy with the ginger, with the carrot juice. The carrot juice is very, very good for your skin. I mean, why do you think I look so young? People call me a vampire. I'm probably older than most of you. You just don't know it. Where do you think all this wisdom comes from? All right, let's see here. Polar bear hair community, definitely. All right, let's do this. Let me do the background a little bit, right? I'm gonna make it, let me put where's my timer at? Let me grab my timer real quick so I can know where we're at. Yesterday I didn't have the timer on and it was kind of killing me. All right, I got it. I got both the timers. Boom. Can you call and talk to me sometime? You sure can. Go to the elite community, go to the classroom, and go to where it says in there, personal coaching for 1 hour. Pay for that. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you for a whole hour. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And you know, it's funny. A lot of times it's like that too, where I have members who actually pay for a month session, or they'll have a one-on-one hour for and you know their store's not even built yet. Their store's not even created, and they just want to talk. And it's a blessing because I'm here to help people as well too, where it's not just about art. It could be about life, inspiration. It could be about transparency, things that I went through. I'm here for you. If you want somebody to talk to, hit me up. I'm a great listener, but also great with life lessons and inspiration. But you know that. So let me dry this off. Today's first topic is we're going to be talking about why originality is a trap. Okay? Originality is such a trap. Who's got time for it? And when I say who's got time for it, is who has time to try to recreate the wheel? A lot of times people stay stagnant, you stay broke, you stay poor because you're trying to recreate the wheel. And sometimes a lot of times we're trying to recreate the wheel because we're worried about what other artists are saying. A lot of times when artists create, they're creating for other artists. They're not creating for the market, because when you think of the market don't know any better. The market don't know any of this stuff. The market's not trying to look for, oh, what's original. They're trying to look for something to put on their walls. Yeah, if you ever want to hit me up, John, just shoot me a message inside of the elite community, and I'll work with you. I mean, I also have a separate business as well too, where I'm a business coach. You know, so I'm also a business coach, a life coach. I'm not just an art coach or an eBay art coach per se, but a lot of artists, they want to feel special more than they want to get paid. You know, chasing identity instead of output. So a lot of times, like I said, these are people who they want to put it up on the refrigerator wall to their friends and family, and they want to feel special that they recreated the wheel somehow. And their idea is original. Look at me. I did this. You know how many times a week that I'll get random messages from people in Facebook, or not Facebook, but YouTube, who doesn't understand our platform, who doesn't understand what I coach at all, but their first thing they want to jump to, not because they understand anything about art, but you could just tell of where their frequency is that they'll go, well, you're not an artist because you're copying and tracing. That just tells you everything right there. It's like, it's not even worth like having the conversation with if your mind is that way, because then you don't even understand what we do, and you don't even understand art. You're tracing. That's not art. You're supposed to be original. You're supposed to sit in a quiet, dark corner for 20 hours, and you're supposed to study the reference of the polar bear hairs, and you're supposed to know which way that the wind blows from the southwest to the east, and then you're supposed to know the direction of that, and then you're supposed to have the direct, like, people actually think that that's how artists work, that you're supposed to be the master with your eyes closed. You're like to be an artist, they're thinking that you also have to be born just with a photographic memory. Leonardo da Vinci, they used to say that myth about him as well, where he had a photographic memory. Now, I'm not saying the guy wasn't a genius, but a lot of the stuff too, he created the camera obscure because he created the projector. He didn't have time for that. That's why a lot of his pieces were unfinished, because he didn't have time to. Every artist in history has always tried to find time to make things faster, not spend hours in a corner so people could praise them. So they always want to feel special. I don't want people to say that I'm a fraud. They're so worried. Their ego is so involved. And that's what's making people poor, is that your ego's involved about thinking about what other people think. So they're more worried. This is a trip. Think about this. You know how many artists, there's so many artists out there who are broke and they keep themselves poor because they're worried about what people think who won't buy their art. People who aren't even art collectors, or people who aren't even into it, about what their family, friends, or other people think. But they're going to think that I don't want to recreate the wheel, or they're worried about other artists. So check this out. They want to create art. They want to create art for other artists, and they're worried about what other artists are going to think. Well, what if I use this reference? Other artists are going to know what reference it is from, because the other artists, they use the same reference. You have the top gallery artist who they don't care about any of that stuff. There's no originality. It's about getting on to the next one. And what I've learned years ago that got me into art is that take whatever inspiration you can from whatever you want, and then make it into your own thing, because we're all creators. And then what happens naturally, what you're gonna find out, the more that you're having fun and the more that you're being creative, what's gonna happen naturally is that the art that you create it's going to look different than whatever the reference is that you're doing. So instead of chasing output and putting numbers out there, where we talk about the lottery ticket, they're more about chasing an identity, and they want people to tell them in their circle, you're a good boy, you're a good girl, good on you. But I'm not buying your stuff. Didn't I do good? Yeah, you did good. Or you also have a different spectrum where you have the polar bear hairs, right? How original, like that person might think that they're being original because they're spending more hours on it. But how original is it when the polar bear that they're doing is exactly identical to what a polar bear looks like if I go to Google Images? It's the same polar bear. Yeah, but I'm being original because my hairs are different. Okay, my hairs point to the southwest. That's different. And I spent 632 hours on it. I clocked it in. I have a time clock. Some of those artists probably have a time clock, right? I clocked it in how many hours that it took me for each hair. Like, their ego is so involved that they think that being hard to understand, it makes them valuable. They think that the mystique part makes them valuable, being hard to understand. Well, it's so original. And what happened is I was taking a trip to the Himalayan mountains, and I took a trip off of ayahuasca, and the sky opened up for me and told me this design, but this design is really mystic in the form of the heavens. And it said to me that we are all as one, like all of this stuff right here. Like, they're trying to be so original that they think being mystic and being complicated. Like, nobody cares about any of that stuff. You're only saying that stuff for other artists. And then you're wasting time. You're not making any money because nobody cares about that stuff. And then these are stuff that you're trying to do to be an influencer. I mean, there's so many influencer artists now that you'll see online, and I'm telling you, a lot of them are broke, and they wish that they could do what we can do. And I don't even know if I want to say they wish that they could do, we could do what they wish they could do what we do, but in a form of they wish that they could do, they wish that they could do what we do in a form of dropping their ego, because then they become a slave to this whole ego thing while they're broke. And the ego makes simple strategies feel like it's beneath them. It's beneath me to do these simple strategies. I used to be into the same loop. I was broke because I was always trying to make all of my paintings so deep. And every painting had to, like, I'm telling you, I used to spend more time in my art career trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to be original than anything. What I used to do, I used to go on my phone and I used to look at different concepts that I was into, and I would do a photo edit of things, and I would mix things in there of the photo first before I would use it as a reference. So there would be different concepts of what I do, and then I try to have, okay, in the background, I'm going to say this, and what it's going to mean is a deeper level. So that way, like one painting, I used to go off of the whole, I used to pride myself on going on the whole idea of being like, anytime I was in my gallery or something and someone asked me about my art, I said, yeah, every one of my art pieces, I could talk about it for an hour. Yeah. Like, I would have this whole story about every art piece and I could talk about it for an hour. Yeah. Like, I thought that was so cool back then to say, like, it's like every painting is so deep. Yeah, but if you look closer right there, that means like, you know, Snow White, but the whole Switzerland story. Yeah, if you know about that from nine. Like, who are you saying this stuff to? You're just going broke. Nobody buys it. It's like, oh, it's a cool story. And then it got to a point with me, it was like my last gallery, and then nobody was buying nothing, and it just clicked for me. I was just so tired of it. I was so tired of the digital narcissism. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? I remember I made a post and I made some of my big art friends mad, where I said, you know, A lot of times the best art pieces don't need to have a story. Like whatever the interpretation is up to whoever it is that's going to buy it. It's not for me every time. Like I don't need to have a story every time I want to create art. Maybe I just want to create art and it don't mean nothing. Maybe I just want to create art in 10 to 12 minutes and it's in your eyes it might be boring, but in my eyes it means everything because I'm being creative and I'm being a child again. But you're not being a child again because you think that everything has to be all these artists, they want to be poets. They want to be broke poets behind their art instead of just creating the numbers and creating the lottery tickets. Pride keeps people broke longer than lack of skill. It's pride. And I've seen it happen too many times. And that was another reason why I didn't want to tell anybody about my secrets once I cracked the code or once I was starting to crack the code on eBay. I didn't want to tell any of the artists from my previous life, from my previous world, anything about it. Because I already knew it was be a waste of time anyways, because their pride and ego was so tied up into the world of what they thought they had to be and to make. And I knew that they wouldn't be able to cross over. So it was just a waste. It's like their pride, it keeps them broke longer. And I understand the feeling. Like for me, I've been doing this for so long, right? Where it's like I forget sometimes what it feels like, and but at the same time, I could talk about it because I was there as well too. I'm Corbellic. What? I'm Corbellic. How dare I sell art for less than whatever? That's beneath me. But what's beneath me is being poor. What's beneath me is being broke. What's beneath me is not being free. These people aren't free. And then you're waiting around for this day that you're going to hit a lottery ticket or something that doesn't happen. So what happens is like, well, it's beneath you to sell your art for this amount or to like, it's beneath me to have so many different collectors. Once I hit eBay, like I got real collectors. I got real people who are buying my stuff. I got real people who have an opportunity where they can keep coming back to me and I could make a relationship with them to buy my stuff. That wasn't happening when my ego was involved in people. They give me a bunch of free likes, you know? I get 100,000 likes and I got over 10,000 followers on Instagram and my social media and I got the blue check mark, right? And I'm at all the cool parties and I'm thinking I'm Corbellic, but it's not paying my bills. And these aren't real collectors. These are just people who are also broke themselves, but they put on a great facade. And usually in these type of cities of where like these art things is at, like, you know, the Miamis and the New York and the LA, right? I was in all these scenes. A lot of these people are broke, but they have a great perception that they're not. And they're great at giving the likes, but they're not great at supporting you because they don't got the money. But the people who actually had the money who could keep coming back to me day in, day out, and I'm building a relationship with them and I could get commissions, I could get more workout. That's invaluable. And there's been so many times where my pride of who I am, I'm Corbellic, was keeping me poor. It was keeping me poor for a long time until I said, you know what? Like it took a lot of guts for me to break away and say, you know what? I don't care anymore. Like this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's why I didn't use social media. Well, I know that's why I didn't use social media for a while either, for years. That's why, you know, I didn't need social media to sell my artwork because I was like ashamed still a little bit. Like, even though I was making the money and I knew there was proof there, I needed to do it without having the old world look at me and be like, I don't want anybody to send me a message. And my mind is still susceptible to the pressures of the world of the old world thing. My mind is still, because even though I'm making the money, but I still need to prove it to myself a little bit more. And I don't want the old world of the gallery world of where I was from to know, oh my God, he's selling his art on eBay. until I really had the proof. And then once it was like, then as years gone by and I'm really making the money, and then hold on, it builds up. And then I made $1 million. And I'm like, why do I care about these people who, never bought anything from me, and they're not even part of, like, they're not checking for me. And out here this whole time you be having in your mind that people are checking for you, they're looking for you. Oh, you're so special. That's your ego still getting involved. And then the whole time they're not even really checking for you. So it's like, wow, I need to be living my full life. Like, for example, maybe I did want to actually start this business years ago and actually help people do this. But I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't have the real, even though I've been doing eBay for a while, I've been doing eBay for years, I really didn't have the business sense to build a course off of how we have it now, right? The whole thing. The only way we have it now is because I went through a lot of trials and tribulations also with eBay, and I went through every scenario. But if I tried to do it years ago, I wouldn't have known what I was talking about, even though I was making the money. It's kind of like the blind leading the blind. Boom. Thank you for the super chat, Linda. I greatly appreciate you. That really means a lot to me. That really means a lot to me. That goes a long way. That's a big, big heart in my heart. Thank you. Thank you so much. Really inspires me. If you haven't already, please leave a like on the video. It also means a lot to me to leave a super chat in there. Let me know that you appreciate the knowledge that I'm dropping for you, that I'm showing up, that I'm painting, and that at the same time while I'm painting, I'm dropping some real invaluable knowledge for you. All right, we're doing God's work out here. I appreciate you. Goes a long way. All right, let me. That's our polar bear, but what I'm going to do, a polar bear has a little bit more white to it, so I'm just going to add some areas that have the white so it can punch up some of our colors. There's nothing wrong with that. And that was the light bulb moment for me. So what I did before starting this community, right? Because I'm worried, like, oh, what are people going to say, kind of thing. I was looking like, all right, let me block some of the people from my old world so they don't mix into my new world when I'm about to start my business. And I'm looking to block some of these people, right? And then the funniest thing happened. You know what the funniest thing happened that I realized? These people who I was, I guess, subconsciously worried about from my gallery days for years, and me not fully living my life or fully living my business or fully living my purpose, I go to their profile so I can block them. And then they weren't even following me for years. Nobody's checking for you. This whole time, at times you're scared to live your life and to do the things that you need to do because you're thinking that people are checking for you, or friends, family, high school people from 30 years ago. Oh, they're going to see this. No one's even checking for you. And then that's the thing that I hear too. Like, a lot of times when people in their deathbed, some of the things they regret is that they didn't live their life fully because they were thinking that other people cared, or other people, they're worried about other people when they could have been like so successful by just living their life and realizing that no one's checking for you, no one cares, and it doesn't matter. And then it's just like another light bulb moment happened. I want to live it to the fullest. This is my life. These are my truths. We need to stop hiding ourselves. We hide ourselves at times too. And then we lie that we don't. Yeah, we do. So worried about what friends and coworkers or people are going to say. We're scared to be confident. We're scared to wear the clothes that we want to wear. We're scared to go out and dress up because people are going to say, "Oh, where are you going? Are you going to an event? Are you going to a cocktail party? Are you going to church? Are you going?" Instead of you just being like, "No, I'm going out to enjoy me. I'm dressing nice to feel good about me. This is something I want to do today." How about that? We just need to start living our life. Look at there. Look at that. Isn't that nice? There's our polar bear right there. Let me know what you think about the polar bear. Huh? Isn't that nice? Polar bear? Polar bear. Really nice. All right, on to the next. Hey, I told you, John, send me a message. Send me a message and we'll talk, brother. All right. On to the next. This one we're going to do a young, is it a young tiger? I think it's a tiger. Maybe a young lion. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. All right, let's go to the background. All right. So this topic, we're going to be talking about why the art market doesn't care about different. All right. So different doesn't automatically mean desirable. All right. Like people think that just because you do something different, whatever that means, that all of a sudden it's going to mean that people are going to want it and it's desirable, when I had to learn the hard way that it's not. You know how many times that I tried to recreate the wheel and do something different, and then to find out the only person that I'm pleasing in the moment is my ego. And then nobody buys it. It's different, all right. Yeah, that's different. That's cool. That's different. But you're just doing it to be like, isn't that cool? And then what I realized, which was crazy, I go to eBay and then I do art that I considered at the time boring, which is like landscapes, cats, dogs, buffaloes, or whatever, different things, right? And then I realized there's a market for that. People want that. Now, am I going to say to myself, this is where the ego gets involved. Am I going to say to myself, that, oh, well, I don't care what the market says. I like this. I like for my art to be social, political, with a deep message, with the pyramids and the guys walking through the forest, but there's a time clock behind them that reads 333. And then the three symbolizes, like, nobody, like, that's different. That's cool, but you're only doing these pieces for yourself and your ego. Are you going to be an artist or are you going to be a business? You have to make that decision. You have to make that decision. Do you want to be an artist or do you want to be a business? Artists, they create art because they want to go show up to a gallery there, or they want to go to co-op art things, and they want to have all the artists look around and other artists glamorize your stuff. If you want to be a business is Kraft macaroni and cheese selling $1 boxes of Kraft macaroni. You think Robert Kraft, the billionaire, thinks that his macaroni and cheese is the best macaroni and cheese? You think McDonald's think they make the best burgers? You think Starbucks thinks they make the best coffee? Or you think that they think they're a business? You have to make that determination. I can't do that part for you because I don't know where you're at in your life. But I know where I was at in my life, and I was tired of not being free, and I was tired of being broke. Buyers respond to what fits their taste, space, and emotions. And you won't know that unless you do different types of art. So the market can actually know either what you do or give them a chance to find out different things. there's been times where like anytime like there's been times where things really clicked for me, and this is kind of an elite gem, even as simple as the advice might sound. when money when money started getting funny to me, or my data was starting to get low, or my numbers were low, or if I wanted to shoot past a certain plateau of money, and I had to do it because bills are due every single day, and I have to do it. Like there is no going back. What I had to do, I had to force myself to make different type of art, different themes, different anything. I had to put out there what the market is, because I understood that there's collectors out there for everybody, especially on eBay, where eBay has 150 million credit cards that's there. I think as of now they have 180 some million shoppers. And I know there's so many different collectors out there. So it's like, if I'm just doing the same thing of what I like, and yeah, there's a few collectors that like it and they're buying it, but I understand that I'm also missing these deep pockets of collectors out there that might spend more money and that will give me more constant money daily. I'm missing these pockets out here. Why am I only pleasing this one pocket or these two pockets of people who keep coming back to my store as collectors when I could be having 100 different pockets? What I mean by pockets, I'm saying that the same people who buy comic book characters that you paint are not the same people who buy dog paintings that you paint. The same people who buy the dog paintings that you paint are not the same collectors who buy the impressionism paintings that you paint. The same people who buy the impressionism paintings that you paint are not the same collectors who buy my inspired neo-expressionism, Basquiat, abstract portrait type paintings that I paint, right? You have to go for the different pockets. And the only way you can do that is to drop your ego and not try to be original. There's no originality in that. Oh, that ginger beet juice thing. Lord, it tastes so earthy. Ugh, but it's good for you. like like being unique, you can be unique as much as you want, but you're being unique with no demand, and it's still a losing play. So imagine you're being unique out there. Yeah, you're unique, all right, but yet there's no market for it. So what's the point? You're only doing it for yourself, and you're just doing it for friends, family, Facebook. Look, y'all, I'm unique. This one's so different. Sometimes I'll see different artists, and they'll come into either mostly they come into the free community, and then they'll say, I wonder if my art will sell, because I'm different. I'm unique. And and then as soon as I read it, I roll my eyes like, all right. Aren't we all? You're one of those, huh? Yeah, you're so unique, all right. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, because how many times are you going to go out your way to try to be unique? Like, you know how long it takes you to be unique? It takes you a lot of times of research and trying to reinvent the wheel. Oh, that's really a cool concept. That's different. But then you know what's going to happen as well too, which is a trip. When you try to be so unique and different and you spend time on it, you're going to resent the market for not also feeling the same way that you feel about it, about how unique it is, and they're not going to care, and you're going to resent the market, and you'll be like, what are y'all, dumb or something? Don't you understand that the time clock in the background, in the eye, in the owl, where the head moves to the west, it symbolizes the west of Mississippi during the 1933. Don't you understand? You're so dumb. You don't want, like, you're going to start resenting the market because they don't understand how deep and original that you were trying to be. And they're like, all right, I want to see something nice and something I could put on my wall. Most people just want to put something simple on their wall and not have to think about it. Market's not thinking about the art like how you're thinking about it. It's all about the juxtaposition of once they start saying, once I start hearing people say stuff like that, I already know where they're coming from. The juxtaposition. Like, ugh, you're one of those. You think I'm thinking about any of that stuff when I'm just being creative like a child right now and I'm painting this lion and I'm having a great time? But I also know that there's a market out there for it and it is going to get purchased anyways. And why does it have to mean that this lion is thinking about the Lion King and is thinking about going back home and the lion has a sad face because it's thinking about how it was pillaged and it was on stolen land in Africa from the colonization of, like, who wants to hear any of that stuff? Like, you're boring me. Like, nobody wants to hear all of that stuff all the time. Just make art. It doesn't have to be all of these deep, deep things. It doesn't have to be so original of all that. Wasting time by doing that. People just do that type of stuff so they don't actually have to just create art like a kid. Like, dang, can't you just drop the ego and just create? Are you able to do that? But I never forget. I think I didn't tell the story. When I got done with the last gallery thing I was doing, and I was done with the digital narcissism, when I put it out there that every art piece doesn't have to be a long story of depression, of the struggle, of victimhood. It's so original because this comes from me. Like, and then I put like one of my last posts out there where it was like, it doesn't, like, art doesn't have to be that. Sometimes it could just be you go to the studio and create art. You know how many like big artists they came into my DMs and they weren't attacking me, but they were really emotional about it. And they were like, how dare you say that? I don't think you understand how many of us are depressed and we have to show the sadness of the trauma of who we were as children and paint the portrait of the children of who we are and have the original tears that dropped from our childhood into the portrait, like stuff like that. I'm like, man. Thank you so much, Sweet Life. That really means a lot to me for leaving a super chat in here. That means a lot to me. Lets me know that we're having a great chat here. If you haven't already, please leave a like in the video, leave a like in here. Let the YouTube know that we're doing God's business. We're out here saving lives. All right. That means a lot to me. Big heart to you. I love you. Thank you. Also, if you're not part of the elite community, you can join us. The link is in the chat. It's pinned. So that way you can also learn how you can do this for yourself. You can learn how to make sales. Everybody makes sales who join the elite community. Everybody makes sales. Everybody makes sales who's part of the elite community. So if you're not already part of the elite community, John, maybe that would be a great suggestion too, because I feel that art is very therapeutic. It helps me. I think that's what also gives me mental clarity and what makes me mentally strong is all the art pieces that I created over the years, because you get a lot of time to no one's going to do the journey for you but you. So you have a lot of time to have reflection while you're painting. You have a lot of time to think. Um, Maybe that's why, I am a trained speaker, but I think that's why I'm also so articulate in my thoughts and my things that I'm saying is because I've already had these thoughts for years by myself while I'm painting. So it's just easier to talk to you about it. So if you're not already part of the elite community, join. It's also a community. So it's not just a course room where we also talk about these things together and we're here for each other together. But yeah, being being unique with no demand is still a losing play. You're so unique, but the market don't know about you. Or you could get onto eBay where they already have 180 million people and you could already have a market there for you. who's looking at whatever you do. Maybe you're not, I always say the joke all the time, which is true. You see me paint dogs, but after I'm done with the beautiful dog, I always say, I don't even like dogs, but I paint the dog, right? When I first started with eBay, I used to talk so much. I used to be one of those people, just like everybody else, who was talking. I used to talk trash about people who sold art on eBay because I was like, oh, that's dumb. That's a waste of time. Why would they do that? Don't they understand that they're better than that? And here my ego's like that, but I'm broke and I'm going to a 9-to-5 job that I hate to pay my bills, and I'm broke. I'm broke with the 9-to-5 job. And I'm talking bad about people who are making money selling art on eBay. And I didn't get it at the time. And I didn't have how can you say that when you don't have a market? Compared to you get on eBay, and then you could already have people buying your stuff. You already have a market there. You have collectors there. Yeah, I'm so unique, but I don't have a market. I don't have people looking at it who are actual real buyers that are called engaged shoppers. I don't have engaged shoppers. So what's the point of me having my ego involved like that? Produce Man, Produce Man 13. Great question, and it's very true. Great question. One of the best questions. Great question, and it's very true. Produce Man, follow up with that question. What do you mean by that, and what do you think? I want to hear more of your thoughts on that. That was a great question. Really, really good question. Really, really smart question. Must be a smart individual. Follow up with that for me. Because that's something that I sometimes battle with. I'm not going to lie to you. And I don't know if it goes hand in hand sometimes or if it doesn't. You know, sometimes I just have to see. But if nobody wants it, then originality means nothing financially. I remember this time I was broke, and but I'm Corbellic online. I'm Corbellic, but I'm broke. And I reached out to a family member, like a like an in-law kind of family member, right? And looking back on certain things, it's like you never want to put you. These are all learning lessons. You never want to put yourself in these situations. I mean, not that it's like a bad thing, whatever. And I set it up like where it would be like a consultation where I could provide them some beautiful artwork for their house because I seen that their walls were bare. But these were people who weren't even really into art like that or buying art, or if they did, it wouldn't be like. And I wanted to be like a situation I was hoping where it was like, I could create this art painting or this portrait for them or something, and they can hang it on their living room. It could be beautiful. And I would only be like $1,000, that way it wasn't like, you know, um, that way it wasn't like it's something for free, it's actual service. And I wanted to set up like, hey, we could get together. It could be a consultation, something that you would like to do, and I could show you the art. And they were like, no, not into it or whatever. And then, at the time when you're broke, you have these moments where you're kind of like, oh man, how dare them not want to buy a piece of art from me and help me out. But it was like me putting myself in a situation where my business sense was bad because look, here you are going for the wrong market instead of the market where it's going to respect you and buy your stuff at. And I don't know, it was a learning lesson right there where it was like, never ever, and when it comes to business, never expect on family or other people like that to support your business. It's just not going to happen like that. And you can't be mad at them either for not doing it. And then it puts you in even in a weirder situation later where they'll look at you like, because you're a business, but then people look at you like, oh, you even reached out to your family for business? Like, you must be broke and struggling. It was an uncomfortable thing. And I told myself I would never go through something like that again. And I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad that I put myself in positions to free myself. And once I did, I was like, I didn't look back. And I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to do my own thing. No helping hand, because nobody is coming to save you but you. Nobody's coming to save you but you. And nobody owes you a life jacket either. Nobody owes you the life jacket to save you but you. But I know so many individuals who start businesses who want to have some type of business, and their market of their mindset of where you're supposed to be going, where you have the free likes from your high school friends, the free likes from your friends and family online, the free likes from people who just like you as a person in real life. So they're going to like your stuff, or they feel bad for you, or they want to support your little hobby. Then what happens is when you're like really a business and you're like, hey, don't you want to support me really, like financially? Then not really. Then you start resenting the people. And it's not because like you just, because it's you put yourself in that situation to want to be so original and do things the safe way with friends and family that you put yourself in a situation where you're broke and you're reaching out. And now you expose yourself. It doesn't put you in a power position. It puts you in a vulnerable position. It doesn't put you in a position anymore where it's like they don't even respect it anymore. They respected you when you were just not asking them for any money for your business. They isn't that a trip? They respected you more when you were just the broke person who was broke alone and not asking for a handout. I don't know. Why are you asking me? You're supposed to figure it out. You're the business. Then that's when I realized, oh, why am I even caring about what these people think or even showing my art to these people? These people are broke, or they're secretly weirdos. Instead, I need to go to where the market's at. And then once you go to where the market's at, then from not being so original and you're making the money, then the people want to pretend like they always supported you and always knew like, or you always feel this feeling of like, really, they didn't support you and they just thought it was a hobby, like you're that broke artist, and they wanted you to stay at that position of being the broke artist. Because even though we're artists, right, and we've always heard our whole life that you're supposed to be a struggling artist, people who aren't artists, they also think that too. Everybody knows that, right? Even if you're not an artist or going into the art field, that's why people don't go into the art field, because they always hear the whole thing, oh, you're a starving artist, you're a starving artist. So the people who like your artwork and giving you the free likes online and the free clicks on Facebook and Instagram, they're giving you the free likes, but deep down inside, they're thinking that's not a profession they would want to do. They're looking at you as the broke artist who's doing it as a hobby. But then all of a sudden, once you start making money for yourself and you're pulling up in the nicer car than them, you're pulling up in the nicer clothes, they're wondering like, you think that they're really, really supportive? Then they expose themselves to showing that they weren't even supportive all along. They just wanted you to stay in the position of being less than them and the starving artist. That's kind of a subtopic right there, but it all goes together of you wasting your time trying to be original. If nobody wants it, originality means nothing financially. Damn, that was deep. Give me some likes on that one. Leave me a super chat. I'm dropping some knowledge and some gems for you. Nobody online drops these business and art gems like that. These are psychologicals. These are human conditions. Adrian says, I have family and friends who tell me how much they love my stuff and they encourage me to sell my stuff. And then when I finally do, they don't buy anything or they want it for free. Yep. Story of my life. That's why it's like never have a metrics on your family and friends. Do you know how many people I know who gave up on their business idea just because they didn't have support financially from their family and friends? I've seen people lash out on Facebook at their family and close friends for not supporting them enough financially and buying their stuff. Could you imagine your business being based on your family and friends? Once it clicked for me on that, I just knew. I was like, your family and friends are going to be the last one to support you. They're only going to, or really cheer for you. They're only going to cheer for you once the money starts rolling in and they see it at the end. But before that, it's kind of like a kid who puts his artwork on the refrigerator. Oh, that's cute. You know, you're just tapping the kid on his head, and then he goes back to his bedroom and he keeps creating. And he's like, "Oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute that they have these pipe dreams? They're creating. That's so cute." That's how they look at it. But then when you actually start making the money for it, and you're like, "Hold on, it's supposed to be a pipe dream. What do you mean you're making money? What do you mean? What do you mean? How's that possible? You're supposed to stay in a good poised position and a less position. You're not supposed to be making more money than me. What do you mean? That's not possible." Then I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing. Watch, when you start making the eBay money, and when you start making the money from your success, even if it's not eBay, you're going to see the real colors of people. It is a trip. It's a real trip. It's a real trip. You won't know. That's the thing about the human psychology too. A lot of times you won't really know unless you get broke again and you're down and out, or you get rich. You won't know. You won't know. You really won't know. These people are better performers than the Oscars. You won't know. Now, there's two different conversations. Does that mean that these people don't love you and whatever like that? That's not what we're talking about. I'm not saying people don't like that's a different conversation. But one thing is it's a human condition. There's a human condition compared to, look at that, isn't that nice? There's our baby lion, baby tiger. There's a different condition between love and the human condition of the natural things that's there, things that you can't, things that a lot of people can't fight against: envy, jealousy, survival, hate, things that's inside of them that they can't control themselves. All right, on to the next. You know how many times that I've had people support me or say that they support my artwork, right? Because I'm being original, but I'm not. like, okay, these are real conversations that I've had with other artists or even people in family where they love you when you're being original, right? When you're having an original idea, but you're not selling any of it, but you're original and it looks like it's gallery artwork. It's so cool. It's so original. It's so original and it's so different. And then they love it when it's like that and you're broke, but you're original and it means something deep. You're making something for yourself and you're making something for all of us to click on. But then once you go away from that and you're not being original more and you start doing mass production or you start producing where you're not recreating the wheel and you start making money, the conversations that I've had with people are, well, how come you're not being original no more? How come you're making that fast production art? You're going too fast with your art. Also, so basically it's like a factory to you now, huh? So basically you're just mass producing. And then this is like these are conversations you can't even explain to people who are not part of the initiated. They don't understand the eBay business. They don't understand the thing. Like, why would how can you explain to somebody brokenness? That's why I had a video. I had a video that I said, and I don't think most people understood it, or maybe it didn't do too well, but whatever. I don't really look at metrics like that. But it was like a video saying that I don't take advice from broke people. And some people might have thought I was saying broke financially, but if you watch the video, I was talking about broke mentally. Like, I don't take advice for broke people because it's like it's a lost cause conversation. It goes nowhere. So imagine having that conversation. Like, what? So I'm just supposed to be making original artwork for free and not getting paid, but I get the respect from it. Ooh, respect pays my bills. No, it doesn't. Like, this is a business. Maybe it'd be different. I could make original artwork if I was okay working my 9-to-5 job and that pays my bills, right? But if I don't have a 9-to-5 job, why am I going to keep trying to recreate the wheel and have be original for a market that's not looking at my stuff and I'm not selling it? It makes no sense business wise and financially. It's dumb. All right. All right. On to the next. And this is the painting right here that we're going to have. I think this is your Yorkshire thingy. Like I said, I don't really know too much about dogs, but it's a cute doggy. Isn't this like a Yorkie? Is that what they're called? Yorkie, Yorkshire, something like that. One of those breeds. Really cute dog. I'm really excited to do this one. All right. So on this topic right here, new topic, what we're going to be talking about is that artists overcomplicate things. All right. Artists overcomplicate what should be simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Like, everybody always wants to overcomplicate stuff. Like, things need to be so deep. And by you overcomplicating things, also by you trying to be original, reinvent the wheel, also trying to overcomplicate your art, your business, that's how people always think that's how you stay broke. Because a lot of times you always feel like in order for you to make money, it can't be within 10 to 12 minutes of you creating art. It can't be with so much time. I need to have 1,000 polar bear hairs. That's why that person did the 1,000 polar bear hairs videos. He did it for people who aren't into the art world, or maybe not even the collectors, for his friends and family. And it's to be like, look how hard I work. You start equating your art to a salary and how long you're working at your job. You're overcomplicating things. And I'm in the mindset where my God doesn't want me to overcomplicate my life. It doesn't want to be everything has to be so trivial and difficult. We need to get into the mindset where everything doesn't have to be difficult. Once you start doing that and you make it okay for yourself to have your riches, your heaven now, and it's okay, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be that you have to go through torture in your whole life to get the riches, to get the things that you want. Once you start doing that, then your whole business changes. You give yourself permission to be successful without feeling guilty for it. We're in a society now. Have you noticed we're in society now where people want to make people feel guilty for being successful? Oh, well, they must have done it the dirty way. They must be crooks. They must worship the devil. Oh, they sold their soul. Oh, they're bad people. Oh, well, They shouldn't make all that money. They should pay more taxes. They should pay it more to me. Like, we have a socialist mindset of people where it's like people don't want to work and get it on their own. Or if you do work and get it on your own, then everybody must be bad for it. Or if you're not a bad person for it, then it has to be super complicated. It must be super difficult. It must be super like hard. And we need to put it in our mind, in our vocabulary, that it's okay to get the things that we want. And it doesn't have to be so hard and complicated all the time. Sometimes things are just as simple as that. And you won't know unless you're putting the lottery ticket out there by creating more, creating with volume, creating how we create. And then you'll have more success. Can't have that. You can't have the success when you're not working in speed. Thing that changed my life forever is hearing very successful people talk about work in speed. Success comes in speed. And you can't work in speed if you're always trying to recreate the wheel and try to be complicated and make things so difficult for you in your life. Fox Terrier. That's what it is. It's a Fox Terrier. That's what I said. Yeah, Fox Terrier. But people always think that being simple is not enough. It's got to be so complicated. It's got to be more. How dare you? How dare you give me money for something that took me 10, 12 minutes? They're masochists. They feel like things have to be so complicated and it has to be longer than that. They feel guilty. I feel so guilty for taking your money and it only took me this short amount of time. Think you're thinking of a novice, of a person who's not into art. It's just like the old saying that I like to say, where it was like with Picasso, lady comes over to him, hey, how much? Can you draw me something on this napkin? He draws something on a napkin, and of course I'm paraphrasing, and then he says it'll be $3,000 or $5,000, whatever, and she goes, what? How dare you? It only took you 30 seconds to draw it. He says, yeah, but it took me 30 years of my life to know how to do it that quick, or at least have the confidence of it. Everything doesn't have to take so long. People want to overcomplicate things. People avoid repeating what sells because it feels boring. Success is boring. That's one thing that a lot of people don't understand about success and about running a business. If you want to have a profitable business, if you want to be a profitable person, it's boring. But you have to be okay with the boring. You have to put yourself in a mindset where your dopamine levels is lower. And I talk about this a lot in the community. I also have videos about this on YouTube. About your dopamine levels. It's important that you drop your dopamine levels. Stop being distracted. Stop being distracted by your phone. Stop being distracted by doom scrolling. Stop being distracted by television. Stop being distracted by low energy dopamines. And then what will happen is you'll find pleasure into your work. You'll find pleasure into the things that seem boring. They only seem boring because your dopamine receptors are too high and you need to lower it. And a lot of times your dopamine levels are too high as well too, because you drink too much coffee. You're on too much caffeine. Now, caffeine's not a bad thing, but too much caffeine, especially in the form of coffee, is bad. Spikes your dopamines. And you need to be comfortable doing the boring. The thing where I was losing money at when I didn't have a structure is my dopamine levels were way too high because I'm like a dopamine addict. I like to be distracted. I like to be like all over the place. But I had to learn a system so I can't be all over the place, which is why I work off of the 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. It's easy for me to focus on the hour and a half at hand and focus on the 10 to 12 minutes in that time. It goes by like that, but I get so much work done in just that 90 minutes. And what happens when people are addicted to the dopamine, it seems like torture for you when you have to do the mundane, boring work of showing up to paint. Like imagine you had to wake up in the morning time and you're like, okay, I got to do 20 paintings today. Oh, 20 paintings. That's torture. Or imagine, you being like for an hour and a half, 90 minutes. It's easy for me to say for 90 minutes, an hour and a half that I don't occupy myself with doom scrolling in my phone because trust me, it all adds up. I even used to put on my phone a phone time tracker so it could track how much that I was utilizing my phone. Because it adds up into your day and you don't even realize it. Like in between paintings, you would look at your phone, check your phone, see something, reply to somebody's messages, reply to somebody's email. All of that stuff adds up. And you're like, where did my time go? Oh, we always say stuff like, the time goes by so fast these days. Yeah, the time goes by so fast these days because we have more distractions in our world. We have more cell phones, we have more dopamines. And it feels boring when you're doing the stuff, when you're repeating yourself. Success is so boring. That's one of the things that I've learned from my mentor as well too. It's not always glamorous. I always tell that to young people because young people think that success is going to be like TikTok and um I don't know, influencer type stuff maybe, and it's just going to be easy. It's just like I don't care what generation that we're in, it's not going to be easy. You still have to work, but you can make it easy once you start getting comfortable. So one of the analogies that I also talk about too is like, when you ever notice how people like in prison, once they go to prison, all of a sudden they're mad scientists and they're all MacGyvers who are able to take a toothpick and a rubber band and they're able to make it into a rocket ship and all this stuff. You're like, how come you didn't take these smarts when you were outside being a criminal? The reason why is because their dopamines are so low because they don't have nothing else to do with themselves. So when you're bored, like you need to get comfortable being bored. When you're bored, you do work that anything will excite you. So for me, I would replace my dopamines with creating art. I replace my dopamines with making money. If I feel like I'm like twitching and I wanna check my phone or I wanna like get a dopamine fix of what's going on, I'll replace whatever distraction it is of that feeling that I'm having. I want a cup of coffee. I want something. I'll replace that with let me get up and work. Let me make a video. Let me do. So I'm always working. I'm always working because that's my dopamines. My dopamine is helping people. Like instead of refining, they keep reinventing. So the more that you keep reinventing, the more that you're not even going to have time to understand your data points of what's working for you or what's not instead of refining. I put out enough data points out there in the market so I could understand a new market of buyers on on eBay of different things. And then once I'll be like, oh, you know what? I never thought that that would sell well, but it did sell well. You know how many members that I have inside the elite community that always go, you know what? I was just playing around. I made this study. I didn't like it. And it sold. It sold quick. Then it's a light bulb that clicks in their head. They're like, whoa, so it's actually the art that I'm not trying to recreate the wheel on and I'm just doing whatever. Those are the ones that sell. But the ones that I'm putting the most energy, thought into, those aren't the ones those don't sell. Now, once you figure out that people buy that piece of art, whatever it is, right? The one that you didn't recreate the wheel on, what you need to do is start refining then. Okay, well, if they're buying that, then if they're buying that elephant that I didn't know that there would be a market for, what if I buy, okay, what if I'm gonna make another elephant, but this time I'm gonna make an elephant with a little bit of landscape, or I'm gonna make an elephant with a UFO in the background. Like, these are things how you could refine so you can get more of that market. Instead of always trying to recreate, and you're never gonna even have any data points. And the thing that I love about finding your tribe and putting yourself out there where you have to drop your ego, when you drop your ego, not just with your artwork, but you have to drop your ego when it comes to your business. Because when you drop your ego when it comes to your business, you're also giving a chance for your own tribe to find you. Your tribe is not your family. Your family, they have to deal with you because y'all were born together. Y'all have the same bloodline. They have to deal with you, right? But strangers don't have a concept to tell you that you suck, you're good, your art's crap, your art's beautiful. They don't have a reason to tell you anything besides based off of what the market data point is. That's what I love about strangers and about dropping my ego, is that I get to find my tribe faster. My tribe isn't my family. You thinking that your tribe is your family or staying in your small circle, that's just your ego protecting you, and that's keeping you poor. And that's also keeping you poor so that way you can make other people feel comfortable around you and you don't ostracize yourself because you don't want to be the black sheep that's successful when other people aren't. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you make it outside of us, of our group of broke people? And oh, now you think you're better than us, huh? You think you're better than us because you're working hard? You're waking up a little bit early to go to your hobby job, huh? How dare you? They keep reinventing instead of refining. They also confuse um, complex complexity with value. If they think something is so complex and I reinvented the wheel, that's the value of it, not the art, not the giraffe. It's how complex it is. You don't understand. It was during the French Revolution that, don't you understand? You're just too dumb to understand how deep it is. Like this dog, for example, I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. It's a dog. Fox Terrier or something? I don't know. But whoever buys this painting, right? Because me dropping my ego, they're gonna love this painting because it's gonna remind them of one of their dogs. Somebody out there has this dog, and somebody out there has this dog that is the exact same looking dog. It's gonna look like their dog. They're gonna be like, that reminds me of the dog that I had when I was a child, and I miss him so much. I'm not making fun of the dog that you had when you were a child, because those are great memories. And I love creating those memories for people. But you get what I'm saying? And you can't predict that. You can't predict any of that by being original. By you being original, you can't predict those moments. You being original is only you predicting the moments for you, what's important for you. But you can't predict the moments where something reminds somebody of their aunt's farmhouse that they grew up on, their late cousin's barn, flower, kitten. Simplicity often sells faster than trying to be clever. You can't always try to be clever. That's the thing too about the ego is you try to be clever. And I'll always love seeing simplicity and minimalism art because it takes a lot of talent to just let it go and be confident enough where if that's what the art is. A lot of times that's what sells the most on eBay is also just being simple. A lot of times people get things so complicated where they act like they have to do more, paint more. And a lot of time is just really being simple. People love seeing something so simple. Something that was just like a sketch or something that's even halfway finished will sell a lot just because the confidence of what the painting is. And most people like to overcomplicate stuff. Just make it simple. Like this is simple. This is beautiful. Oh, look at that. There's our fox terrier right there. I love it. Someone else is going to love it too. It's going to remind them of their childhood dog. All right, let me grab a little bit more parchment paper. Leave me a like in the video if I'm making sense. If you respect what I'm saying, let YouTube's algorithm know that we are doing God's business, that we're saving lives around here. Let me also know what you think about our doggy. I make these comments, but I'm being serious in what I'm saying. So you can see here, a member just said, I just recently sold a dog from my buy it now for $140. The buyer said it looked just like the deceased dog. You see what I'm saying? Like everything that I tell you is true, what I say, even though I'm being facetious at times and we make little jokes, but I'm being very serious about the things that I say. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to. Originality, that stuff is only for you and your ego and for other people. When you do things like that, when you make dogs, cats, landscapes, barns, cars, different things like that, it's in God's timing of who he knows who it is going to be the market. The biggest market is already on eBay. And what's going to happen is people are going to resonate with whatever those things are when you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and they're going to show someone. You can't predict that because you never know whose cat's dog died or the deceased or the childhood. You can't predict these things. I can't predict any of it. That's why I always put out different things into the market. So that way the market is going to dictate. I can't predict these things. And most of the times I make money off of situations where I didn't know that their favorite childhood cartoon was this or their favorite. You can't predict those things, and you'll never get a chance to do it as long as you keep trying to be clever. All right, on to the next painting. Now we're going to do a landscape because I love doing landscape and I feel like it's been a while for me since I did a landscape. Just want to have some fun and do a quick landscape. Landscapes are always so fun. I used to never do landscapes, right? I used to never, ever, ever do landscapes. But then I found out that landscapes are extremely popular. Like they're so popular for some reason. Like people buy a bunch of landscapes. Like people buy a lot of landscapes, either if it's my buy it now, either if it's through my auction. People buy landscapes and I used to make fun of them when I didn't understand because I'm Corbellic and everything needs to be original. How dare I make an original landscape? I'm above that, right? That's stupid. And I would never do it. And then until I found out there was a market for it, that people love it. But I also realized in the process of me doing the landscape that I love doing them. There's a freedom in it. So we're going to do the landscape. Now, on this topic, we're going to be talking about why repetition makes money, not being trying to always reinvent. All right, repetition makes the money. Repetition. It's kind of like what we talked about on the last one, but it's repetition makes the money, not recreating the wheel. Repetition, repetition, repetition. You know how many times, like, I'll have references that's in my, I have references that's inside my computer, right? And I always keep the references, but you know how many times that I painted them like over and over before? There used to be a time where even if I had references and I thought that I was being original or even not being original, I would go out of my way like I'm not going to paint that ever again. And then I freed myself when it was like, okay, even though you might have painted that before, you could paint it again. And you could paint it again because there's people out there in the market when they're bidding on your items, maybe they didn't win it that month. But then the next month when you paint something the same one or similar, even if it's the next week, it doesn't matter when, you get other collectors a chance to buy it and it doesn't matter because it's still the original. And even though they might look the same, they're still not the exact same one. There's still some different there's still some different brush strokes and still different things that's different in it. So I gave myself permission to paint whatever I want as many times as I want. Like businesses grow through repeatable process and about being consistent. So that's what I talk about when we talk about like things that are boring. It might seem like it's boring or whatever, but that's business, and growth in anything that you do in life is about consistency. And it's about consistency over and over and over. I mean, what rocks or water cuts rocks, right? Water cuts diamond. After a while, and it's all about just doing the same things over. It's okay with saying to yourself that you don't want to overcomplicate things because the more that you overcomplicate it, the more that it's just going to have friction into your day. I remember someone asked one of my early mentors, they were like, how come you keep drawing? How come you keep drawing the same thing all the time? Or like the same type of image? And then my mentor said, because I don't want to come to the studio and keep having to rethink a new one. Like I'll do the same bird, I'll do the same different, because I don't want to keep recreating the wheel. That's overrated. It's not needed. Like, there's so many landscapes. I probably painted this landscape before, right? But it's not the same because it's not the same type of brushstroke or it's not the same type of things that I do that's more loose into it. But I've painted this so many different times. You know how many times that I've painted Tesla, Nikola Tesla? You know how many times that I painted I mean, I could go on. I could go on to so many different portraits and people who I painted so many different times. I painted Frida a lot. And once you tell yourself that, you can get through more art pieces. You know why you'll get through more art pieces too? And you'll get better as an artist? Because in the back of your mind, you'll feel like you painted it before. So things that might have been challenging for you to paint before, or you feel like it was a challenge, or you didn't know how to approach it, you'll be able to approach it different with different eyes later on because you created it before. Like, you know how many times I paint my references. I paint things that like my paintings. So there, a lot of times, like I'll save screenshots of my paintings that did well on eBay. I'll save it in my reference folder and I'll paint it again using that reference of how I painted it, but just a little bit different. And I'll be more loose with it. And it's okay because I'm only painting off of something that I've done. I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm painting off of my reference. The happy mistakes, you have to let the happy mistakes happen. Repeating winning themes, they build momentum. So, for example, I was telling a member because they were the question was based on in our eBay store, should we focus on having different categories in there, like subcategories to be like flowers box, cat box, dog box. That way when the collector comes to your store, they could just click on the subcategories and be like, oh, I want to go to their flowers. I want to go to their cats. I want to go whatever. And I said, it doesn't hurt your store if you want to do that. But for me personally, I didn't do it because I'm such a different artist where I don't want to be boxed into these subcategories that I'm painting. How many subcategories would they create for me? 100? I paint so many different things. Maybe I don't know what I'm going to do that day or whatever I do decide to do that day. Now I'm giving myself an extra job where if I'm making a dog, oh, let me make sure I add it to the dog subcategory. It doesn't hurt to do it. I'm just saying for me, I never wanted to be boxed in because I don't know what I'm going to paint. And I don't want it to be how many subcategory boxes would there be then after a while? I need momentum. I need speed. I'm always thinking about speed. These are the things that used to keep me up late at night is think about how can there has to be a way for me to get faster, but at the same point, still delivering quality and originality where they're original artworks without the point where it's like prints, right? Like, how can I go faster? There has to be a way. And people don't understand that with what Jovan says right here is so true, is that you notice that painting more often makes you paint faster and better. It's so true. You'll get better. You'll get better the more that you do it. A lot of times it's hard for people to do it when they start off because their ego's still involved and they're like, it's not looking good. So they think that just because it's not looking good now, and if you paint faster and you keep doing it, it'll never look good. Like it'll just always be crap. And it's not true. Learn it from me, trust me. Because I was in the same boat. You get better at it. I wasn't always this good at painting. The only reason I'm good at this painting now is because I just kept getting faster and faster and I kept producing more and I kept showing up. But my paintings, if you would ever look at my early paintings of what I sold on eBay, I'm embarrassed. It looked like, it looked horrible. But I kept showing up and there was still a market for it. And I'm even surprised then to be like, dang, you mean to tell me that people are buying this stuff? Because I always talk about save your journey. So save the photos that you have in your journey into like whatever, try to save as much pictures as possible of your journey. And you'll see how you've grown in your art style, but you'll also be proud of yourself looking back on your journey where you didn't understand certain things in the moment. And it'll seem like yesterday. Because that's what it seems like for me. It seems like yesterday. But I look back at the journey, sometimes I get sentimental and I'm like, dang, like I went through a lot to get to where I'm at. But at the same time, I look at how my art has evolved because my art has definitely evolved through the years. And it's only evolved from me showing up and working in speed. And you get better. It's just like anything else in life, but it's so weird. We hate that growing process. We hate the growing pains because we want it now. I want to get better right now. I hate that feeling. So a lot of times, since we want to get better right now and we want our artwork to look how our brain is imagining it and we want it right now, we end up quitting. A lot of people quit because they want whatever their eye is supposed to be right now. Don't worry about that. Like for some reason, like with the things that we want with our hand to do, we want our hand to do what our brain is doing. And it doesn't happen like that. And we get frustrated and we think that it's never going to happen. So then we quit. It'll happen for you. You just have to keep working, painting faster and get on to the next one. Someone will buy it. And then the worst thing that happens is they don't buy it, but you can still have it into your buy it now store for later on where it's still being recorded as a listing for the algorithm. But someone will buy it. All of it gets sold. Trust me, all of it gets sold. And just like what Petit Flora said is so true, the best part about eBay is that you can sell while you grow and get better. And that's so eloquent. That's so eloquent. It's so true what you said right there. That's why I'm so thankful for eBay. What other business out there is going to pay me while I get better? Galleries aren't. They want me to show up and already be Picasso. They want me to show up and already be Michelangelo. They want me to show up and already in their eyes. And who even knows what that market is? eBay is the only place. I'm so thankful for eBay. eBay's given me so many opportunities and freed me of my life because they paid me while I'm getting better. And I thought I was a great artist, but I was I'm not going to say I'm a crap artist because art is subjective. But they paid me while I'm showing up, and a lot of my art is not, in my eyes, wasn't that great, but at least I show up. You know me, my motto is I show up to work to create 100 paintings. So hopefully I like one of them. And when I look back at the paintings that I sold over the years, I'm like, wow, I can't believe people paid either a lot of money or that's funded my life, those paintings. Like what other business is going to pay you while you're getting better, while you're working on it, while you're doing studies? Just look at it like that. Go to work on eBay and say to yourself that you're creating work studies. That's how you get your ego out of it. Say that you're just creating work studies. There's no other business that's going to do that. Then what happens after a while, the familiar styles of what you're doing, because you're not recreating the wheel, the familiar styles, they build up a stronger buyer trust. They will build up a buyer trust. Because when people see my stuff, even though I change things up, right? And I've been doing this for so long, people still go, oh, I could tell where that's a Corbellic. And that's going to naturally happen with your art. But it's just important for you to show up. And don't think that just because you're showing up today that you're not going to reap the benefits. You're still going to reap the benefits where people are going to buy from it. Because the market that's on eBay that's buying your stuff is different from the market that's on Instagram and all that stuff, who are people who aren't buying it. That's true vanity created for them. And then the cool part about on eBay is that once you start early and you have these collectors, over the years, these collectors also grow with you, and they're going to remember that they bought some of your earlier pieces. They're going to see the evolution of your art. You know how many times I hear people come back, or they reach out to me and be like, hey, I bought some of your earlier pieces years ago. And it's cool to see how your business has flourished. It's cool to see how you evolved in your art. It's really cool to see what you've done with yourself. And I'm glad that you're still here, because most people aren't. Lady Jane, join the elite community, and I have everything broken down how you do it, how you don't need anything fancy. You can just do it from the phone. I have everything broken down how you do it. We list the quickest, we list the fastest than anybody on eBay. Everything there is very simple. From taking a picture to listing it properly to having the proper SEO. So the link is pinned in the community. Join in there. I look forward to working with you. Also, you can join now while there's a 7-day free trial on there, so you can see what the community is offering. This is beautiful. And earlier, something like this, I'd be like, I'm not painting birds in the sky and a landscape. That's beneath me. But then it's like, I don't know. After I've been doing them, they're so beautiful. I love them. And they're so free. And this is what the market likes. Lee says, could you briefly tell us how your course would help us sell our art? Do we have to live stream? No, you don't have to do any of that. You could be a ghost. I didn't have social media for years. I didn't have a social media. I wasn't posting my stuff on Facebook for nosy neighbors, nosy coworkers, family members who used to. What no one knew that I was selling art on eBay. Only thing that you had to do was post your artwork on eBay because the market is already there. You don't have to live stream. You don't have to get on YouTube. You don't have to do any of that stuff. That's what I'm doing because I'm showing you how I did my business where of art and I'm coaching. That's what I do. You don't have to do what I do. It's total different. You don't have to do any of that. Only thing you have to do is sell art on eBay. And the startup cost is very, very, very low from $120. Click the link in the chat. It's pinned to the top. So you could join the elite community. And the whole community is there. It's not just a coursework where you have a whole group of people there that be supportive and that help you out along the way as well. We have weekly Q&A meetings with me where I answer any questions and very supportive. I help you along the way. There's also, as soon as you join, a 14-day sales orientation so it could get you started so you're not just lost in the fog and like, what do I do next? What do I do next? Like most people do in courses and stuff. I have a whole thing for you. So by the end of the 14-day orientation, you already have your first sales. Everybody does. All right, that's it for this painting. Let me put my son in here. All right, that's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, beautiful. All right, I'm done with this one. All right, let me add my signature on there. Sometime this week, I need to make more direct videos explaining to people how you don't need social media, live stream, or you don't have to do any of that difficult stuff to sell art on eBay. You could be a ghost. Look at this. Look at this landscape. Beautiful painting, right? Isn't that beautiful? With the lake right there. Now, when someone sees this, it's going to remind them of either the Florida swamps or the Georgia pond, or it's going to remind them of when they went to the Amazon. It's going to remind them of something, and you can't predict that. Or it's going to remind them of something of a daydream they had when they were a kid. And that's the beautiful part about art like this. I love it. It's so many different layers on here as well. Very quick. You can't go wrong with this. There is no mistake. All right. Put our parchment paper on top. Boom. On to the next. All right. On to the next. I think this one is going to be another beautiful doggy. Beautiful, beautiful doggy. Boom. There we go. Boom. All right. On this topic, we're going to be talking about why originality kills volume. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, it kills volume. When you're trying to be original, when you're trying to recreate the wheel all the time, how can you do volume? And volume is an important part of the game of what we do on eBay because you need the lottery tickets. The lottery tickets is how you get the volume. That's how you're going to be able to get the snowball effect of having different collectors bidding on your stuff and having different things going on where you have different themes, different styles, and you're not trying to be original. You're not trying to recreate the wheel. You're looking at things on different references of how we pull up. There's so many times and so much where I used to pull up different references and things from Pinterest. Just get things from there. Or you could get things from Pinterest and then you can get on AI. I used to use Imagine at the time, but that's too slow now. Now AI art is even faster. You could either use it with Grok. I think Grok is phenomenal when it comes to AI art. It does it fast and it gives you so many different multiple, like a variety of things to choose from on a page. So I also have in the elite community where how you could pull up references and different art things so you're not recreating the wheel, and it's called reverse engineering. But you could just pull it up off of Grok. Grok will pull up like 50 different images and it'll look like different things that you could just grab from of the art. It looks like art and you could just save it onto your computer and you can work off of that. So that's how you're able to do it, and you're able to get on to the next one. If I'm spending all this time trying to be original, right? How many of those am I going to do? That's the part that really sucks about original art that people are trying to be original on, is that when somebody asks you for a commission, you're thinking to yourself, dang, now that means I got to do research. I know that's what I always it used to take me so long. People didn't understand when I was doing my original art that didn't sell, but it was cool that people were giving likes on. I spent maybe a week doing just research on my images. I would spend so much time on the research part. People didn't understand that. Oh, let me figure out how to go in this angle. Or I'd ask someone, hey, do you have an image of this? And it just takes so much time. And that was the part that was stressful to really get a good original concept. You had to work on the concept beforehand. It wasn't even about the art. The art was the easy part. That's what I used to tell people. The art was the easy part. It was the homework before the art. Me picking up the paintbrush is just me painting the thing of the concept of what I'm going to paint and what I'm going to go after. But I had to reconstruct it beforehand. I'm using the computer, I'm using the tablet. All right, I'm going to do it this angle, I'm going to have this face like that. I used to spend so much time doing homework on Google on whatever the image is that I'm going to paint instead of going straight into it or just finding different simple references. How we find it now using either AI or using Pinterest, whatever you see on Pinterest. You know how many times, like for example, I have where I'll paint Tony the Tiger. I'll paint a different concept of the Batman, Smurf, or whatever, because these are all things that I don't have to rethink. Just simple concepts. Yes, this live will always be on here. So the replay, you can always go back and watch the replay. But also, what I'll do on these lives, I'll post it in the community. But what I'll do is I chop these up into the segments of our topics of what we're talking about. So that way you're at least just watching the segments of the topics on what we're discussing, like the 20-minute segments or the individual paintings. It makes it easier to digest for some people than watching a 2-hour stream. I understand. Sarah says, "Do you have to buy a projector?" I mean, you don't have to, but it's best that you do, so that way you're able to work faster in the way of what we work, because we're just using the proportions, but what comes out of us is always going to be different than what we see. It's just easier than trying to look over and copy and reference. Like, I've been painting so much, but even me, if you give me a picture of a hand, I'm not going to be able to draw an exact hand just because I see it. A lot of people can't do it. What your brain sees is not what your hand is going to do a lot. So it's just easier for us to work off of a projector, and you could just knock it out because the proportions are already there, and you could use whatever color you want. You could be a child again. You could do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but it does give you the confidence of having it there and then on to the next one. So it's just easier that way, where this is how we work. We use the projector method and you're on to the next one. That way you don't have to second guess yourself. It's easier to second guess yourself if you're not using a projector, because then you're going to think you're not fast enough. You're not going to be fast. You're not going to be working off of a timer, and you're not. So it's just better with the projector. But projectors are very cheap. Yeah, they're very cheap. You could get some for the ones that I'm using right now, about $50 or so. But this is the thing. Send me a message in the elite community. If you join the elite community on a annual, which is the VIP, then I'll send you a projector. Okay. But that's only for you. All right. I'll offer that one for you. Send me a message today. If you want to join for the annual VIP, then I'll send you a projector. All right, on to the next one. Or anybody else who happen to listen right now to that offer. If you want to join and you join, or even if you upgrade to the VIP right now, I'll send you a free projector. That's everyone. But you have to send me a message that you did so that way I can get your address and send it out to you the next day. All right, let's get this going. Now, what we're talking about is that originality delays volume, because people spend way too long trying to reinvent the wheel in the new lane. And they make fewer pieces because everything has to be profound. And when you make fewer pieces, you're not giving yourself a chance for the lottery tickets. Need the lottery tickets. Without the lottery tickets, how do I know? It's the same thing anytime I hear, it's the same thing anytime that I hear coaches get online and they have like, oh, I'm a professional with ads, or I'm a professional whatever, but they don't have a business concept of like a business they actually built for themselves. And they say, I know how to run ads. I'm a professional at it. Nobody really knows. I mean, there's companies that spend billions of dollars on ads because nobody knows what does well until you put it out there. That's why anytime they spend billions of dollars for the ads, they always go, well, this one tested high, this one tested, and then you don't know until it hits the market. It's the same thing with art. If you're trying to be original all the time, you're not going to make any money because you didn't test the market enough where you have enough testers out there to actually know, well, this tested high, this tested low. I put enough lottery tickets out there to figure out, okay, which one is the market going for? And then after that, I could refine it and I could do more of that or different of that. And I could, or what I always like to do, I call it printing paychecks. How I print a paycheck is I'll keep certain themes that I know are successful and they've always been successful. I won't always keep dinging on those, because then what happens after a while, it gets saturated and the ding will lose its potency. So instead, what I do is I keep those in the back pocket. I put it on a list somewhere where I put a whole data point of what strong market themes and data points are. So that way, Anytime that I need to print a paycheck or I need to pay a bill or something's coming up, I'll hit on those most popular themes. And I know that those are the ones that tested well in the market. And you'll only know that by creating, and not trying to recreate the wheel. Like the volume drops when every piece carries an emotional pressure. You know how like it was so much pressure for me to always feel like all of my paintings had to be special. And if they weren't special, if they didn't have a meaning, then I'm not a good artist. And that's why I like dropped away from social media. I stopped doing social media because I didn't want people checking on me to be like, where's your great paintings that meant something, that has a meaning to, like, no one's buying it. I need to put volume out. I can't put volume out on stuff that. And then there was a time with the eBay, right, where I was trying to put volume out on stuff that was like my original stuff. They're deeper messages, and it wasn't bought, and no one was buying it. I was like, how do you not buy this? This stuff is, don't you understand what it means? It means the social construct of the, that's my ego getting involved. And they're like, I don't care what any of that stuff, what you're talking about. I want to see a picture of Roro. I want to see a picture of my dog Rufus. I was like, okay, I'll do Rufus. I'll do the UFOs. UFOs do well too. But it's very important to get the data points. And people don't, I try to stress this so much inside the community. It's always better when you're starting off to go as hard as you can. Even at the beginning, no one says that you have to work like that all the time, but it's easier to do that at the beginning so you can understand your data points. And eBay's automatically going to put you at a higher algorithm because they already think that you're here, so they're going to plateau you here. But it's always better to start off with a data point. One of my pet peeves, one of the things that I hated when it came to my business, is that I didn't put out enough data points for me to learn from. So that way I can refine it 10 days later after the 10-day duration. So how many of you been in a situation where you've made only a few paintings, but for some reason, 2 of them sold very well, or 1 of them sold well, and now you've like, dang, those sold well. I wish I would have made more of those paintings, or I wish I would have made more so I could understand what sold more. Now I got to wait for the next 10 days duration to find out what sells. So for example, there would be times where I would make a painting of a UFO in a desert, and I would make other paintings too. But yet I had to wait the 10 days later for it to end an auction. And then I found out on auction it sold for, they're selling for $50, they're selling for $100. I would have thought that when I created it. So then I'm like, dang, when that auction ends, now that the next day when I go to the studio, I'm like, all right, now do I focus on a bunch of UFOs right now and waste my time with it? Or do I do other data points? But I don't even know if I'm doing that, because now I got to wait a whole nother 10 days to find out if that was just a fluke or if people really are looking for the UFOs. But I didn't know it because I didn't put out enough data points. I only put out a few of those testers out. I guess that's what we could call them, testers. I only put a few testers out. Let me know in the comments if I'm making sense. This is some deep, like, elite game that I'm giving right now. This is the type of stuff that I talk about in my one-on-one meetings with people. These are very deep. These are deep things right now, because you're basically, that's a 20-day duration that just went over just for two testing phases, because you didn't put out enough data. Or when starting off, you could have gave yourself that data point of knowing, and the algorithm would have been known too, compared to you wanting to start off slow. You can only start working slow and start going off slow once you start working the game and you've been doing it. Then you could do that. But starting off, you don't even have enough data points to go anything slow off of. You're going to feel like it's not working for you because you didn't put no data out there for yourself. The system doesn't know you, and the market doesn't know you, and you don't even know what the market is. Because like I said, even billion dollar companies who do marketing for a living, they don't even know what it is. That's why they have to test the market, and they go, oh, well, the data shows that these are very successful, that this ad will run great. They do data points on ads even before they run ads. But you won't get there if you're trying to be original. So when you're trying to be so original, you have less output because you're thinking too much. Instead of just make a goldfish, just make the goldfish. At least that you have a new painting out there of the goldfish and you have something. And the algorithm is also going to record it as a as a new listing, and then you'll have that data point. I told you, one of the things that always bothered me the most when it's auction day and then the auctions are over with and the night is over with, the party is over with, I'm always sad that I didn't have more data points out there. I'm always sad that I didn't have more. Like there was days where I thought that I showed up to work because I didn't record myself with a calendar. I didn't record myself of what me showing up to work, right? And I'm thinking that I showed up to work, but then you only know what your real data is when it's time for you to have your auction night. And that's 10 days later. Then when that day comes and I'm like, I only had 5, I only had 7. And the party's over with, the auction is over with, there's no more cha-chings. I'm sad because I'm like, dang, I wish that I could go back in time 10 days ago and actually just produced 10 more. Even if they were crappy, even if whatever, I'm not trying to recreate the wheel, even if they're just cat, dog, whatever, at least I could have had more cha-chings going on. Now it's like, I got to wait till either tomorrow for the cha-ching, and hopefully I showed up 10 days ago on the next day, so there's more, or if not, I'm going to have another night where there's not enough data points and I only did 5 or whatever. This, I'm dropping gems right now. I'm telling you. Those are the nights that are sad to me. And you can't do that because you can't build momentum if you barely finish. If you barely finish, you can't build momentum. You just got to paint and on to the next one. 10, 12 minutes. On to the next one. Happy mistakes. Don't try to be perfect. Your ego is getting in the way. You're going to get there. But it's always better, especially if you're starting off, it's always better. It's always better if you work the 10, 12 minutes starting off and you have the volume under your belt, so that way it's all going to work out for you in the end when you have the volume. Sometimes the arrogance of people, you hear what I'm saying, but you're not listening. And you want to serve two masters and do your own thing where you still want to take time in creating. Don't look at my live streams and sometimes where I'm doing 15 minutes or 17 minutes to create a painting. Look how much I'm talking to you and I'm doing other things. But if I'm focused on my job, I'm knocking these things out in 10, 12 minutes and on to the next one. Because you're going to feel better about yourself psychologically. I'm putting you in a better space in the future, in that 10-day duration, by you having that volume there. Don't do your own thing because you think, oh, well, nobody's here in my studio and no one's watching me. I'm going to take an hour. I'm going to take 30 minutes of doing my own painting. And then after I do the painting, I'm going to check my phone. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to do this. Then after time, it eats up. And then you say to yourself, well, when I go to work, when I'm after work, I don't have enough time. You do have enough time. You're distracted and you're doing your own thing instead of doing show up with the ugly work or show up with the work, the other. Show up with the work that you think is ugly or the volume. It doesn't matter. Trust me, you're going to get better and people are going to buy it regardless. The stuff that you think is ugly, people buy it. And that's what things that people say to me all the time. And I understand. They go, wow, the pieces I thought were ugly, those are the ones that people are buying. And the ones that I thought were pretty, people aren't buying it. Yeah, I know. Get out of your ego, create the ugly art, and get on to the next one. I'm saving your mind for the future and the 10-day duration because you're going to, when the party's going on the auction, you're going to wish that you had more data points. All right. There's our doggy. Oh, it's a cute doggy. And I don't even like dogs. All right, that's going to be my last painting today. I'm about to make a video of me painting on the mixed media. So yeah, look out for the mixed media video that's about to release. And in a couple hours, really cool one. Let me put a frame on this one because you know I love my dark frames and I haven't done one today. Leave a like on the video if you appreciate the gems that I dropped for you today, or if you understand the gems that I dropped for you today. Let me know, especially the last one I'm saying. Those are things that I talk about in the coaching. Anybody can do this. You don't have to be some trained artist. I didn't go to art school. I just got my ego out of the way and just created like a child, and no one could tell me any different. And there's sometimes you got people in here, not in here, but you get people who try to get jealous of you making money. How dare you make money? You didn't go to art school, or you're doing it your way, and you should be doing it this way. You do it your way. I'm gonna do it my way. Don't let people get in the middle of your success. All right. There we go right there. I love it. Huh? Look at that. There's our dog right there. I love it. There's our doggy. What do you think? Let me know what you think. Do you have these colors in mind, or are we supposed to practice and see what color go on each paper and then do it? You don't have to think too much about it. I don't think too much about it. I just choose any color or whatever, or I just try to choose a color that's somewhat similar to what's on the projector of the reference that we're using, and then go from there. Look, when we were kids, because you were a kid once upon a time, and you were creating art. You didn't ask for permission from your mother or from the teacher or which art that you're supposed to do, which crown that you're supposed to do, or any of that. You didn't ask those questions. We just created art. And it doesn't matter about the color. It doesn't matter about any of that stuff. Doesn't matter. We're all naturally creators. We were born creators. That's why we're here, is to create. And we're already using the projector as the proportion, so you can use any color that you want. There is no right or wrong. I mean, you can use things that aren't supposed to be so traditional, and those are going to be the colors that sell well because at least it's different. People are already seeing stuff that's just too much of the same mundane. All right. So that's what I got for you guys today. I appreciate you showing up today. I'm going to be back here again tomorrow. We're going to be back here again tomorrow and the same time, 8:30 a.m. Hope everybody is going to have a productive day. Hope everybody's going to knock out a bunch of paintings. I'm going to get into the community right now, have an accountability post, see where people are at in their listings, how many listings that you did yesterday. That's something that we do inside the elite community, just so that way we're held accountable. It's kind of like our internal calendar of what's going on during the week because it's important. And as long as you do that, it adds up. And a lot of people, they start getting better. But then what happens is it's going to be rewarding for you at the end of the 10-day duration, which I'm talking about, because then you're going to know that you didn't miss a day. If you did miss a day, then you're going to know it as well because you didn't show up in the elite community where you typed in, hey, I did this many canvases, or I did that, or maybe I slacked off, or whatever the reason is. All right. But that's what we have in there. We have a cool community. If you're not already a part of it, then you're missing out. All right. Don't miss out. You can join it, start making money, start making some sales as early as next week. And I'll see you in there. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I appreciate it. Love you guys. Later.